He put his name on stakes, a fake university, and casinos that sank, and now the Donald is putting his name on a battleship that is going to meet the same fate, this according to military experts. And coming up next, I have the bombs they're dropping on Trump's Titanic naval blunder. I'm Dan, and welcome to another Occupy Democrats video. To get all of our daily reports on everything that Trump ruins just by touching it, please hit that subscribe button. What he's touching this time with his name is a battleship. It's the only thing big enough to satisfy his out-of-control ego and narcissism, right? Not a chance in the world, but it is the current object of his self-affection. Have a look as he oddly slurs his way through the press conference announcement, something that I've supplemented with some hilarious AI satire that I found on X, and then I'll share the torpedoes he's receiving from experts.
As Commander-in-Chief, it's my great honor to announce that I have approved a plan for the Navy to begin the construction of two brand new, very large, the largest we've ever built, battleships. You know, you used to build the Iowa, the Missouri, the Wisconsin, the Alabama, many others. We had big battleships. These are bigger, but they will have 100 times they'll be 100 times the force, the power, and there's never been anything like these ships. These have been under design consideration for a long time, and it started with me in my first term, because I said, why aren't we doing battleships like we used to? And these are the best in the world. They'll be the fastest, the biggest, and by far 100 times more powerful than any battleship ever built. So if you look at the Iowa, the Missouri, Wisconsin, Alabama, and others, but they were similar in size, some a little bit bigger than the others, but if you take the biggest one, it's 100 times more powerful. They're longer by a little bit, but and they're bigger ships, but they hold much more. They use the word lethality.
So the bone-spurred real estate mogul seems very proud of his naval exercise, but not so fast, says a boatload of experts. The CNBC article by Lim Wei He is titled, "The Trump-class battleship faces a large obstacle in its way, reality." On Monday, U.S. President Donald Trump unveiled plans for a new Trump-class battleship, declaring it would be the fastest, the biggest, and by far 100 times more powerful than any battleship ever built. He hailed the ships as some of the most lethal surface warfare ships, promising they would help maintain American military supremacy and inspire fear in America's enemies all over the world. But there is one glaring problem. Battleships have been obsolete for decades. The last was built more than 80 years ago, and the U.S. Navy retired the last Iowa-class ships nearly 30 years ago. While labeling the new surface combatants as battleships could be a misnomer, defense experts say that there remain several gaps between Trump's vision and modern naval warfare. Mark Cancian, a senior advisor at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, dismissed the idea, writing in a December 23rd commentary that there is little need for said discussion because this ship will never sail. He contended the program would take too long to design, cost far too much, and run counter to the Navy's current strategy of distributed firepower. A future administration will cancel the program before the first ship hits the water, Cancian said. Bernard Liu, senior fellow at Singapore's S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies, described the proposal as a prestige project more than anything else. He added that the size of the proposed battleship, displacing more than 35,000 tons and measuring more than 840 feet, or a little over 2 football fields long, would make it a bomb magnet. Brian Clark, a senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, suggested Trump may be drawn to the symbolic power of battleships, which were the most visible icons of naval firepower for much of the 20th century. The USS Missouri, completed in 1944 and the last U.S. battleship built, famously hosted Japan's surrender in 1945. Clark noted that the U.S. Navy recommissioned 4 World War II battleships in the 1980s as part of its 600-ship fleet expansion strategy during the Cold War to counter the Soviet Union. This may be an era in which the president believes the U.S. last had naval supremacy. Battleships last saw combat in 1991, when retrofitted Iowa-class battleships provided shore bombardment fire support to coalition forces in the First Gulf War. So we have an 80-year-old man who many argue is in the grip of early-stage dementia, leading the Navy not into modern warfare, but into the past he's familiar with. And he doesn't just lead the Navy, he leads the entire military. What could go wrong? Let's see, using the military against its own people as his personal police force would be wrong. Using the military to execute suspected drug runners without due process would be wrong. And whatever he does next, as the madman and wannabe dictator that he is, will almost certainly be wrong.